You're live. Good luck.
Okie dokie. Righty, so I am FellVisage, and with me is Jado. Will be helping me commentate.
I also run this game.
He found the game, or the trick that broke this game to pieces for any percent. And time will begin when I click easy, which I'll count you down to very shortly. So, 3, 2, 1, and start. So we have, a bunch of cutscenes to skip here. And we have to run around on this boat for a bit, which is really unfortunate because the movement on the boat is a lot more clunky than everywhere else in the game, for whatever reason. We have to just do a bunch of plot triggers by speaking to NPCs that we'll never meet again for the most part, except in cutscenes. These series is just a standard action RPG series with collectible stuff, and in the later games, parties and AI and what have you. But every couple of games they sort of switch it up. This is the most recent one available to the Western world. Oh, I keep doing that, mashing too hard. So here's the first boss, a tentacle. The routing on this boss is really annoying because it's like somewhat phase-based. And if you stun it at the wrong time, you will waste the entire stun because it will stay out of your range. So the blue bar on the bottom is its stun bar, which I'm deliberately not filling to the max here until it comes closer. And this damage method I'm doing here is the fastest we can do right now, which is just rolling and instantly doing the down thrust attack. Because we don't have access to skills, which we'll unlock very shortly, and barely use, this is just going to be the highest damage. And a similar thing will be used for movement very shortly, which I call the infinite roll cancel. And that's our first skill, which we'll never equip or use. And this is the infinite roll cancel here. Basically, you cancel your roll with charge attack, and then you cancel your charge attack in its startup with roll. It's as simple as that. Which is somewhat difficult to execute perfectly, and it's not that much faster than anything else you do, unless you execute it perfectly, but I like it, and it is faster, ideally, So here's Luxia, who we're going to be using for the start of the game, killing things. First skill is pretty strong, and is very good at proccing a damage glitch that apparently has always existed in the game, but we only, its severity goes up with FPS, and Durant's recent update to the game made it run at 200, and the one before that was 144, and then the original was 60. So it's gotten more and more severe. And it's done by forcing a bunch of different hitboxes and effects and attacks and stuff to be on the screen at once. And it makes combat trivial, but also causes some graphic glitches. So here's our first taste of a... damn, I missed it. Of a trick we're going to be seeing a lot, the switch cancel. Ugh. Of course I failed this room. There we go. So there's just a bunch of events we're supposed to have to do in that room, but you can skip it all by jumping over the cutscene trigger. Yeah, we saw a brief teaser of switch cancelling, which we're going to be seeing a lot here, which is a relatively tight trick. So I'm going to warn you now, this glitch has some graphic stuff with it sometimes, and it can be quite, severe, I guess. Oh, too early. to say the least. It's very rough on the ice. It wasn't too bad there. But on the final boss in particular, it can be very, very, very eye-destroying. So I'll remind you again when we get there. So this movement trick is harder when you're going downhill, but it gets faster and faster the more you go downhill. Here I'm going to switch my keybinds a little bit. For a trick here. Or a long switch cancel here. I'm going to save just for safety. Oh. So here's Avocado, as we like to call him. We're not going to fight him, we're just going to leave. And I'm going to let Jado commentate during this because it's hard to focus.
Okay, so the reason we want to escape from this fight is so that we can set up boss mode. So by leaving a boss fight without finishing it puts us in a state where it still thinks we're in that boss fight, and whenever we go to a area where there is a scripted fight, it will activate that. So then we're going to go back to where we get Laxia, and then we're going to do a second switch cancel over another invisible wall and get between the invisible wall and the loading zone to set up for another glitch.
This one's harder because the loading zone does go all the way up, and if you hit it, you have to do it again.
Yeah, there's a very, very small section that you can stand on. So, by killing the enemies, the game starts like a sequence to play the cutscene after this scripted event.
Good.
But if we leave the area while that's ending, we can then force the cutscene to play in the next area, and that makes cutscenes in that new area start to play. And being able to force cutscenes can destroy a game.
Yes. Basically, we're gonna watch all of these cutscenes manually, even though there's a skip cutscene button in this game. And we're gonna skip a very specific one, because the way this trick works is, depending on which one you skip, it changes where you end up. Basically, the game puts you at the end, or like where the game would normally put you after watching that cutscene in casual play. So despite having a skip cutscene button, we're going to watch a bunch of cutscenes about a bunch of people we've never met, and will never meet, to skip most of the game. Which is, we're gonna skip this one here. And here we're gonna meet past Dana. Oh, that's not the right way. I always do that. Past Dana will be here for almost the rest of the game. But we're in a very specific part of past Dana, which is pretty much the last one, where you unlock the final form, the luminous form. And, well, luminous form is very good, but we won't be using that much. And it also gives us the medium form, Gratica form. And basically what we're gonna do— oh, no. Too early. I forgot there's a third one here. The nice thing about Dana in particular, or past Dana in particular, is that we don't have to switch cancel ever again to gain infinite height. We can just do this. By mashing switch and attack at the same time, you can just infinitely gain height with this character. So we're just gonna leave this fight too, because fighting is for chumps. And we're gonna go to somewhere past Dana is never supposed to go. There's an interesting side effect to going to this place that past Dana is never supposed to go. Bearing in mind, as I said, this place is only supposed to exist in the future. And so, past Dana is now in the future, where the city is destroyed. And so we're gonna— now we're in the pretty much final place of the game. Or like, the place that links to the final place of the game, as past Dana, able to infinite height incredibly easily, without doing pretty much anything.
This place is messed up.
And there's one thing we have to do before we go finish the game. Unfortunately, there is a soft lock if you go to the final area as one singular pass Dana. And so we're gonna fix that real quick by going and doing one of the Dana sections. Now, I loaded a save there for a very specific reason that I'll show off after I finish this section. Rather than just touching the crystal and going into here straight away, I saved and loaded the save, which will have a very significant impact. And it's very important I touch that crystal as luminous. So now we're just gonna go through this part, quote-unquote, normally. And by quote-unquote, I mean we have Luminous, who is the fastest character in the game by a lot, movement speed-wise. Especially going downhill, because if you dash from the ground, but end up in the air, you get a huge burst of speed. And this section is all downhill. So this is like one of the first Dana sections of the game, but we're doing it as our last one because we can. Just one more hover up here. And now we have finished that section. Now we've got 3 different Danas. I'm going to show the effect of that saving loading real quick. We have 4 weapons equipped in all of our slots. Coolio. And the way that works is it equips it to all the characters, or both Danas, that did not touch the crystal. And so what that means is Gratica and Blue both have 4 weapons equipped in all of their slots. And it's a stronger weapon than the default one, on top of that. But now that we have 3 different Danas, oh, didn't get high enough, oh well, I'll just watch both then. Now that we have 3 separate Danas, instead of mashing as fast as possible, it's actually just as good to time your mashing. But you do gain height slightly slower, unfortunately. At the same time, so we're just gonna get over a cutscene trigger there, and go over to this road, over here, and ignore this broken bridge real quick. It's there, we promise. You just can't see it. I'm gonna prove it. There we go. See? It was there all along. So here we're heading towards the dungeon that's in the city, which is the path to the final dungeon, although you do it way sooner in the game, but you can't access the final dungeon immediately. So we're gonna skip the entire like mini dungeon here by hovering to the back loading zone. And I need to do the force cutscene glitch on this guy as well. And this is the easiest way I've found to kill this boss without overkilling him or proccing the damage glitch. Right. And the reason we did most of our damage with Blue there before we went over here is we have a limited amount of SP, and because Luminous didn't get all of the weapons, and she is the only one who is guaranteed to be able to reach this boss after we get over the barrier here. So we get it low before we do this. Did I go back in? I didn't, right? No. Okay.
Worth noting that with this Dana party glitch, the Dana hover is slightly harder to do.
Yeah, you have to time the— well, you don't have to time the presses. If you mash as fast as possible, it's still just as fast to gain height. But you don't want to have to mash when you don't have to. It's easier to time it. And so this is a set of cutscenes. It's gonna unlock the final dungeon for us real quick.
This is basically the same concept as before. We just force a cutscene to play that opens the final dungeon.
Yep. Except that one we didn't skip a cutscene, we just let it make us void out. Now we're just gonna skip the entire final dungeon real quick, because that's how we do. And there he is, our buddy. I need to put it on offensive.
Yep.
After I do this hover. Yeah. To be honest, me telling you to remind me was mostly to remind myself. Right. So here's the final boss. I need to do my binds. I knew I'd forget that. There's 3 phases to this boss. This one's just where you have to beat these little planty type things. I don't know what they're supposed to be, honestly. And they're not very difficult. Oh, that's annoying. I didn't mean to dodge that. Now that one was out of range for me. There's a mechanic in this game where if you're using a skill, based on the SP cost of that skill, you take less damage from attacks. Because I'm using the 40 SP skill, I'm taking basically no damage from these hits. So I can just tank them. So here's phase 2. This is kind of the most annoying phase. And this is where the graphics part of the damage glitch will cause you some major eye destruction if you're not ready for it. I'm just gonna block that for safety.
And here is phase 2, the one killer normally.
Come on, die. It didn't come over straight away. I think that's because I killed the thingy kind of slow. Right, I'm gonna save the EX here. Normally in like a PB run I would use it here as safety. I'm glad I dodged that by accident. I'm actually gonna switch to Gradica here to keep Blue alive for the final part of the fight. And so here's where the damage glitch is gonna happen, ideally. I'm gonna hit this crystal a bunch of times with Luminous. That's because she attacks the fastest. And then I'm gonna switch to Blue and do this. And it's gonna take a bunch of hits all at once, like that. And it's gonna die. In this final phase, I'm not gonna run straight at it immediately. To try and get it to do an attack where it creates like a cage of lasers. Because it lets you one cycle. And it tends to do it more the further away you are. But it's RNG. And it did this one, which is the worst possible one. Okay, that's unfortunate. Did the claw swipe. Oh my god. So what you have to do for this phase is break it, which is just by doing enough. Oh, now it does it. When I'm not ready. Come on. I should have just not bothered. So, there it goes. And same thing here, we're just gonna hit with Luminous for a little bit. And then I'm gonna use Blue to finish it. And there's the glitch. So we have to do the extra skill here. Time isn't at the end of the final boss here, but it's after I do some cutscene stuff here at the very end. Because the tricks at the beginning that are very difficult went well, it's massively underestimate, but that's how it be. I just let the ending play, I suppose.
Yes, no.
There's all of our talking people we have to do. Right, and then we teleport here, and time is on East 8 showing up after we skip this stuff. So there we go. That's time. I didn't expect stuff to go so well, considering I was rusty before this. I haven't run this game in a few months due to being busy. And then everything went well in all of practice, and everything went well in the run for some mysterious reason. I definitely did not think it would go this well at all.
GG.
So sorry for the massively underestimate time. But as I say, I definitely expected it to go worse, because those switch cancels during the avocado fight and out of the Luxia joins fight are very difficult. Any runner of this game will tell you that if they've done any percent. I did find a trick when I ran this months ago that makes it somewhat easier, which is if you hold the attack button slightly when you switch, it makes it easier. But it's still pretty hard. It's very easy to fall. Especially when it lags because of enemy attacks or because you hit the enemy and stuff like that. I'm actually curious what time was. Because that is a pretty good time.
18:38.
About a minute off my PB then. Not too bad. Not great.
Yeah, those switch
final stuff. Oh well.
Those switch cancels are very, very taxing.
Yeah. I actually forgot that the time is after the final cutscenes in this game, so I can't play the ending, but oh well. Well, I probably could. I probably have a save in the prologue, or the end part. But, feel free to tell me what to do, HS. Alright, I can finish up whenever. Alright, you can take me off whenever you please. I was FellVisage. Feel free to join the East Discord. I believe there's links on like every East game in the forums on speedrun.com. We're friendly, I guess. And yep, I'm FellVisage. I'll let Jado outro himself.
And I'm Jado, and if you have any questions about this game, just join the Discord and we'll be happy to answer them if you need them.
And thanks for having us.